Hello, everyone. Welcome to AI Agents Hour, European edition. Um, Quick thing, I know Shane on the live stream yesterday said that we weren't working together on the stream anymore. That's BS. All right. He was trying to cut me out of my own show. So I made my own show or our own version of it in this time zone. So welcome, Ward. Say what up to everybody.
What up?
Today we're doing a typical show. We're going to talk about what's happening in AI. You'll meet some Mastras as usual, and then we're working on this feature. It's Guardrails esque, right? So we're going to start coding some processors that we want to like just play around with. So yeah, we're going to have the chat open. We'll answer everything. This is going to be fun. It currently is 12 p.m. Central. Was it European time?
Yes,
So for those watching, welcome. All six of you so far. So yeah, we'll get into it. So Ward, um, we previously were just taking care of some horses and goats and stuff. Why don't you let the audience know a little bit more about like where we're at and everything like that?
Yeah, so we're at my place. I live in a small town in Belgium. Abhi's visiting, so that's great. I have in my backyard like animals, like I have three goats and a horse. Have to take care of them every day, and it's fun to have someone who can help me, so I don't have to do it alone. It's basically giving them food, giving them hay, shovel poo, giving them water, like basically everything you do for animals. And yeah, that's about it, I think.
You know, there's like this American thing that we say is like that's horse shit. Well, there's truly horse shit back there that we were shoveling. We also recorded a video of us talking about agent to agent. We're going to release that probably after the live stream while we were shoveling horse poop. So, um, yeah, we're going to get into the show now. I already see some things in the chat. What's up, Jack Martin? Hello. What are your thoughts on Claude 4? We are going to talk about that actually in the news. So we'll just give it a second. See another question about funding news. I don't kiss and tell, so I'll just keep it that way. Let's get into the news. So, first thing we're going to talk about today. 1 second. This. I always mess this up. All right, sharing the screen. So, oh, there we go. All right, so some of the news, it might be repetitive, I know, but this is really cool. The AI Gateway from Vercel was released a couple days ago. It has a lot of interesting implications for, I guess, a lot of this model routing layer of an AI application. So, what the gateway allows you to do is essentially switch between tons of different models. If you're using AI SDK already, you're installing AI SDK, OpenAI, and Anthropic, etc. So it's pretty cool to just use this gateway function and then pass a magic string, and then you've got it. So this is really cool. What the implications are, though, are interesting because there are other companies doing this specific thing. So I wonder if this is like Vercel putting a statement in the market, right? And so, like, notably, right, Open Router is a very famous model routing thing that has an AI SDK provider. Now it's like a little confusing, right? Like, are you supposed to use Open Router? Should you use AI SDK? I mean, the options are yours. But it's interesting to see like where this thing's going to go. So yeah, why are they building it? AI development is fast and only getting better and all that. There's a new state of the art model released every week. That's so true. We feel the burn ourselves on Mastra. Just there's always new models that people are having trouble with tool calling and structured outputs.
New options like Quen, for example.
Quen, yeah. So now they're kind of like, essentially getting into the ring here. There's another interesting thing that happened with this too, because V0's model was released at the same kind of like the same vibe, right? So if you wanted to use the V0 coding model, you could use it with the gateway, and then now you have V0 in your agents or whatever. So I would love to see Mastra users play around with it, right? It'd be pretty cool.
Create like a V0 clone and just show Vercel like, hey,
Yeah,
I did it.
I did it. So this is going to be, you're going to have to pay for this, duh. But right now it's free and rate limited free, which is really cool to play. AI SDK has a really dope playground where you can just try different models and kind of see things there. So this only like kind of improves that playground experience as well. So yeah.
So it's not something you can host yourself. It's only Vercel.
Yeah.
Okay.
And same with Open Router, it was also very similar. And I feel like Bedrock and Azure are also doing these types of things. So, you know, what's Vercel cooking? You know, can I host my own models on Vercel maybe? And then the gateway is available to me?
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
Especially for enterprise, right? Like lots of enterprises, especially in Europe, because of like all the privacy concerns. They want to host them all themselves, or at least make sure not too much data goes to the LLMs themselves or the companies.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's do the next one. I don't know if I shared audio properly, actually, but maybe we'll find out. Linear has an agent and also MCP. I was thinking we could watch this video. Let's see.
Should I check on Twitter that it's...
I guess we could try. This is the first time we're doing this without Shane, so like we also don't know what the hell we're doing either. He usually does all this stuff for us. Let's try playing it and just kind of like see what happens. Nope.
We
also don't know what the hell we're doing either. He usually does all this stuff for us. Let's try playing it. It's us watching us. No. Let me. That's funny. We're literally watching us watching us. Okay. Let me stop sharing. Let me stop sharing. No. Let me. That's funny. We're literally watching us watching us. All right. Turn that off. I need to share audio as well, and then here. Okay. But then. What a tease was that. What a tease. Um, so linear agents is such a crazy idea in a good way, right? The fact that maybe you create an issue and then you just like kind of like have a really good spec in the issue and then you hit run. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then you have a workflow where the issue is well written, where just the V0 or whatever agent can just take care of it and even do like a pull request.
Or what if you like put like an Excalidraw mock-up in there, and then you give it to your coding design front-end agent that just executes that, right? This is very timely. And if you're like talking about like this space that we're in, you know, Microsoft Build was like last week, which also I want to tell everyone, Sam met Satya and gave him our book, which is dope, by the way. That is so cool. I wish I was in freaking Japan of all places. Couldn't even meet Satya. And I'm talking about the dude from Microsoft, Satya Nadella. And that's just dope. So I hope you read the book. Delay in the voice. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. Guess we have some delay.
I don't know how to fix that.
I don't know how to fix it either. We're gonna keep going because we don't know how to do anything. So Sam met Satya at the Microsoft Build, but at Microsoft Build, they unveiled the one Copilot is open source, right? And so now you can essentially leverage that. But you can also leverage these coding agents within GitHub to then go and do work for you. I think this is a trend that's going to start happening, right? Like, we're also checking the audio too. Well, that's fine, I guess.
Fine, I guess.
Can you try disabling video voice? What is that?
Is it on yours?
I don't know. I don't have any. I'm like muted, right? So I'm like, we're using this. Dude, that's why Shane is the GOAT, because he would know how to do this. I don't know. Well, we'll keep going. We'll try. I don't know. It's our best. So a lot of these task processors, like linear, GitHub issues, you name it, will they all start just having these coding agents and like?
I guess so.
Yeah. What about all the slop that will get created?
That's part of the game, I guess. But eventually, the good or the better agents or models come out of it, I guess.
Yeah. Somewhat better. Oh, nice. And Paul from our team is here, or he just. Thanks, Paul, for chiming in there. I guess it's better. Maybe we should just talk directly to this thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe there's interweb connectivity problems. So yeah, we'll move on to the next topic. But I don't know. It's like if AI is going to take our jobs, this seems like the first freaking step, right?
Yep.
If you're like, it's in your task manager.
But it's nice though, because you just prompt your issue or your user story, and then it does everything.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive. Hey, Paul, you want to come on real quick and just hang? I'm going to send you the link. So while we wait for Paul to just crash this live stream, let's move on to the next news topic that we have, which is, and Jack, I think you're going to like this one. Where is it? Oops, right here. Not that.
It's in a coffee shop.
Oh, hey, let's come anyway. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to share this tweet, and then we can also look at the announcement. So, as everyone know, if you didn't know already, Claude 4 is out, which is also very interesting because there have been a lot of releases by big companies in the last couple of days. You have different coding agents. Codex came out. Then you have Jules and V0's model, OpenAI, and Johnny Ive, and all this crazy shit. Like, it's pretty like just the amount of momentum right now is crazy. I will say Claude is my favorite model. I think it's because I'm an engineer and I'm usually doing engineering tasks that I just vibe with Claude more often. So when I started using 3.5 Sonnet, it was honestly like this like revolution, right? Like it was like crazy. But then 3.7 in the beginning kind of let me down, right? And in Windsurf today, I still use 3.5 for a lot of things. And what about you?
I do the same because 3.7 always changes too much. So if you prompt it, you have to say, do not touch A, B, C, and D. Just do this. And with 3.5, you don't really have to. But I do say the code quality of 3.7 is better.
Yeah.
But just the hassle of like, oh no, stop. It's just not not worth it.
Yeah, like if stop is your best friend, then is it really doing the intelligence that we're thinking of? 3.7 in Windsurf had a reasoning mode and then like the execution mode or whatever. I never use reasoning mode because it just goes off the rails all the time,
And I've used like Gemini too, but somehow I always go back to Claude.
Yeah. Also, between the like Windsurf and Cursor, like the execution of like the Claude is interestingly different. Like I'm a Windsurfer purist, just because I'm just too lazy to switch between them. So like when one doesn't work, like for example, if Windsurf in the 3.7 is not working, I do something really crazy. I actually code like myself. Holy crap!
No, I know. Like a couple of weeks ago, I posted in Slack like, "Hey, my cursor doesn't want to talk to the LLM anymore." I was like, "Oh, what do I do now?" It's like it was really hard to just have no auto completion.
Yeah.
Like okay, but then I just rebooted cursor and it was all good again. So.
Yeah. So I started using. I played around with Claude 4, and I think it has the smart intern problem still. In like an actual user case, like these benchmarks are cool, and we'll go to each like thing that they're in the sub tweet storm. I mean, but just like initial reaction is like it's an even smarter intern now, and that's maybe not a good thing for some people when you want to have a lot of control, but it still makes errors. It's still like I just don't like when things like overreach, like I'm in control, yet you're doing all this stuff, changing all the files and shit. I hate that. Also, the chat's blowing up. We'll address those in a second. But yeah, let's keep going here. So Claude Opus 4 and Sonnet 4 are hybrid models offering two modes, near instant responses and extended thinking for deeper reasoning. Both can essentially alternate between reasoning and tool use, like web search, to improve responses. This is kind of the dream. Like whatever they're saying right here is the dream, right? Does it actually work like that? I don't really know. But it's
in a benchmark.
In the benchmark for sure, They have the SWE bench, right? This is like the standard benchmark that people do. And, benchmarks are interesting because you always win, right, when you publish yours. So you can see that Opus 4, Sonnet 4 are just killing it according to their benchmark. So take that for whatever it is. And then lastly here, they say Sonnet 4 is a significant upgrade to Sonnet 3.7. It delivers superior coding and reasoning, all while offering greater control over how eagerly it implements changes, which is bullshit, though. I don't like this because that's not true. And anyone like in the chat who's also using this knows that this is not necessarily true. But marketing is marketing. So
we should try to track every words they say for every release. Yeah. It's always something similar, like it's better, it's newer, like it's always those hype words.
We are going to be coding something in a little bit, so we will be using Sonnet 4. We'll all see firsthand, right? Like what this shit's all about. Cool. And then
I think the questions maybe.
Yeah, let's get into the chat.
Like they asked you that you use Windsurf over Cursor.
Yes, I do. I'm a Windsurfer. What about you? Are you both?
I'm both. Like most of the time I do Cursor just for the daily tasks and coding. But then when I know I have to integrate like a new test suite, or I know I have to like plan something out, I do think Windsurf is better for that. So I just use like if it's brand new or I want to get like something out as a blueprint or something, I switch to Windsurf. It just does everything pretty good because it most of the time just tells me I'm gonna do this out of the box, so I don't have to put it in my prompt, and then you just say yes, and then it does the thing. And also I find that at least for me, maybe it's my setting or something, Windsurf tries to create like a node script or a bash script, and then I can read it, execute it, change it myself maybe, or ask it to change, where Cursor just does a thing and you have to prompt it to change stuff. So I like that over Windsurf over Cursor in those things too.
Let's ask our friend Paul what he thinks too. Paul, what up, dude?
Hey, how's it going?
We can hear you, I
I
think.
think it's my.
Uh,
Now we
you got
can
me?
hear you. All good. Which one do you use, cursor or
I need
windsurf?
to add a prerequisite before answering because predominantly my work isn't coding these days, it's more writing. I actually kick it old school with ChatGPT in the browser.
Oh shit.
I
That's
mean, I have
awesome,
had
dude.
some success with various things using Claude in the browser, but I haven't really needed to switch over to a full-on IDE because most of my work is written.
Yeah, that's true. Also, introduce yourself to
Yeah.
the chat or to
Uh,
everyone here. All 71 of you.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Paul from the Mastra team. New, started last week. I think I'm on day 7 now. Predominantly going to be focusing on the docs. You'll see me around Discord, so if there are any issues or you want to contribute, um, you can at me rather than Shane. I think he was quite keen to point that out. And I'll also be floating around on Twitter as well.
Where were you coming from, Paul? And also, how do we know
Ah,
you
the
in general?
backstory is Gatsby. I was Gatsby's DevRel in 2021 to 2022, 3, I think. And I moved on, did some work in and around databases. I was recently just at Neon before they got acquired by Databricks. And I wanted to be back with the crew. on the,
So we took our chance to
yeah,
snatch you.
an opportunity
Yeah,
came up, and here I am.
that's awesome, dude. Let's keep answering some questions, and then we'll let you go, Paul. All right. Hey, guys, what's this live about? I'm new here. Oh, that's actually a really good point because Shane's really good at this too. That I'm not. This is AI Agents Hour. You're supposed to like keep. You just keep. You have to keep telling the audience what we've been talking about. So yeah, this is AI Agents Hour. We do this every day. This is the EU stream. There's going to be a. I think there's going to be a US stream. I'm not sure, but we're concerned about our stream today. We usually talk AI news. You meet some of our employees here at Mastra. We build stuff. And so what we've talked about today so far, V0 model came out, AI gateway, Claude 4, and now we're talking to Paul. So where are you from, Paul?
The UK, or more specifically, London. But
London.
I'm currently in the countryside on. Actually, I better not give my exact location away, but I'm on a farm and there's deer around. It's really nice, and it's a beautiful sunny day.
Nice. Let's dox this guy. No, I'm just kidding.
Which coffee shop?
All 80 of you. Let's dox this guy. I'm just kidding. Just don't do that. Don't do that. Dude, it's a pleasure having you here, Paul. Thanks for joining and Gorilla coming into
No
the live
worries.
stream.
Yeah,
We'll see you around.
let's see if I.
See you, dude.
Right.
All right, we have some other Mastras that are going to be joining us. We're gonna get to them in 1 second. I think we have one more news article we have to talk about, and that is the big kahuna that I don't use. Let me 1 second, and let's share this. So cursor, new tab model, 1 million plus context window, background agents. Like this thing is spicing up, like from all angles, right? Now you got the IDEs making moves. You know, Windsurf had that coding model like last week. Now, like there's async agents and background agents. So let's just watch this.
Sweet. Cool. Here we go. Hello! We just released a new version of Cursor. We think it's a big step forward in our mission to build the best place to code with AI, and we're excited to show you some of the improvements that we're shipping. First, we've trained a new tab model that's excellent at tab sequences. In addition to suggesting multi-line edits to the file that you're on, this tab model can now suggest changes across multiple files. It will also be faster at all jumps, even in the same file, which will let you tab through changes. Now, Max Mode is now available for all models in Cursor. Max Mode is our option for letting you turn on maximum context windows and unlimited tool calls at API pricing. And so
Max
normal
mode.
mode is still the recommended way to use Agent, but if you're in the midst of something that requires tons and tons of context, you can just easily switch to Max Mode to tackle that. Inline Edit, or Command K, also got a big refresh in Cursor. It is both interoperable with the agent now, and you can very quickly edit an entire file with Command K instead of just using it to edit sections of files. And there are a bunch of other quality of life improvements. You can now create multi-root workspaces to make multiple code bases available to Cursor. You can duplicate chats to export different parts of a conversation. You can tag folders to include entire code bases in context instead of individual files. And lastly, we've been spending the past few months experimenting with coding agents that run in the background and execute tasks in parallel. In particular, people here have found the background agent especially useful for making small changes to Cursor, like small debugging fixes, styling changes, for answering very deep questions about the code base that take a long time and a lot of research to answer, and also for scaffolding out medium-sized PRs. And in fact, we have integrations coming soon where you can have a background agent running on every issue in your issue tracker. We're excited to get this release out to you. And I want to thank you for the feedback that you've given us online.
I want to drink a beer
A lot
with
of
this
these
guy.
changes are driven
He seems
from
like a cool dude.
things that you were asking us for. And we're excited to get these all out to you, and we're excited for the next set of updates coming.
That was sick. I don't
Again-
use Cursor, but
Again, like background task. Linear came out with their thing. Now they're talking about background tasks. All the issues from your issue tracker, they all talk to each other. Maybe it's the same company.
yeah, or maybe eventually everyone's going to be on the same company. I don't know. All right, let's answer some more messages. We got from Jack. It's a hiring process one. Let me just, could you share your hiring process? Not looking, but learn. That's a great question, Jack. Like, we got outside of our networks. Pretty much all of us are pre-Gatsby or post-ex-Gatsby or ex-Gatsby JS people. And then as well as we took some people from Netlify, but just like two people we vibed with while we were there. So we, like some of our YC batchmates are hiring their first engineers or founding engineers now. But we hired Ward and Tony, who I will now bring in. Tony, what up, Tony? We hired these founding engineers literally the first day. It almost felt like of the company. We knew like what we were gonna do. So, welcome, Tony. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And we have another Mastra for here. He comes to us from Africa. Taofeeq. What up, Taofeeq? So one thing you guys need to know about Taofeeq, all 90 of you, Taofeeq has the best haircuts, and he always sometimes he has the best style, dude. Like, look at him, swag, right? Straight swag. And we always make him embarrassed during our company all hands and stand-ups, because he'll get a fresh haircut, and we're like, whoa, this guy's a celebrity, dude. Welcome, Taofeeq. So, kind of wanted to talk to you guys about what's the how'd you guys get to Mastra? What are you guys working on? Let's start with you, Taofeeq.
So yeah, before Mastra, there was the CRM that the team tried to that was Kepler CRM, and so I joined the team then doing that. We built the CRM, but eventually we had to port and move on to Mastra, which is what we build now, and it has been amazing so far, right? In Mastra, I've worked on different things. I've been working on workflows a lot recently, especially the VNX part that Tony built. But most of my work is around Playground and Cloud, really. So showing the teams being able to play with your workflows and agents and tools on the Playground, and also the Cloud being able to build your project and play with it with your workflows and the way same things that you can do on the Playground, then you can do the same Cloud too. Things like that. That's mainly what my focus has been: Playground, Cloud, and workflows.
Nice. And where do you live?
Lagos, Nigeria, in Africa.
Lagos, Nigeria.
How hot is it in Africa right now?
It's kind of hot right now, to be honest. It's kind of hot. I think last time I checked the temperature a few days ago. I've not checked recently, but a few days ago in Lagos here, it was close to 30 degrees, I think. So which is that's 30 degrees Celsius, which is not cool, really. Not cool. But luckily for me, I'm indoor all day with my AC home, so I don't feel the heat.
All right, Tony, do you tell the audience who you are and what you're doing here?
Cool. Yeah. So I'm Tony. Nice to meet you, everyone. So I got to Gatsby because Abhi and I used to work together at Gatsby, and we've worked together for many years. We've worked together as well for many years in the past. I'm a founding engineer here, and worked on just a number of things, especially in the early days.
Small things
Worked
here and
on-
there.
Yeah, worked on like the tracing aspects. Worked on the new workflows implementation, like the VNext workflows. Also on like the cloud platform, mostly on the infrastructure and like the platform API side of things.
Tony's a beast, by the way, if anyone doesn't know.
That's
As
what
a
I made a
beast.
joke that he worked on small things, but he has actually worked on
the
quite
biggest
some
the
big things.
biggest things that we have. And these two are kind of like a little mini squad, right? They kind of rolled together, so it was dope to see. They have a demo for us, so I was hoping they can share with everyone else. So I'll let you take it away, Tony. Go for it.
Sure. Let me see about getting screen share going. So, does everyone see my cursor window?
Yeah, but let's bump up many clicks. So like I would do like 4 more.
4 more?
Yeah,
How about that?
maybe
More.
2 more.
2 more?
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to be able to see anything myself, but
Okay, minus one. Okay, good. That's good.
good. All right. So I'm going to show you guys, like maybe some of you are already familiar with the agent network experimental feature that's been out for a little while. Just to kind of give a quick overview of what it is. The agent network is a way to have like one kind of an overarching routing agent that in the current implementation has a group of other agents that it can use as tool calls. And then based on the tasks that you give it, it figures out what agents are specialized in which kind of tasks. And then it can chain multiple agents together to give you like a final stream result back. So what we've been working on these past couple of days, and we'll continue to work next week and the week after, is a VNext version of the agent network, which is actually built on VNext workflows. So the whole idea of this routing tasks to agents that are more specialized in specific tasks is now actually kind of the result of, let me see if I can find that loop somewhere in here. There we go. It's actually a result of like this one kind of overarching workflow where we first call a routing agent to figure out which kind of a resource we should run. Mainly agents, but you can also run other things like workflows, and we're going to support for like direct tool calls and stuff like that as well. So we're just going to see like what input it actually got, figure out what is the best course of action, run that action, take that output, and then it's going to loop back into a routing step, figure out if there's like another follow-up action that needs to be taken, or if the task appears to be complete, it will exit the workflow. So that's the idea here. I have a little example where we have 2 agents, one which is used to do research, but it does like this very kind of brief bullet point based, like research outlines. And then we have another agent that's actually just like a text synthesizing agent that writes articles. And then if you put those together as an agent network, you'll need to supply the memory, because that's what we need for the routing agent to figure out which steps have been run before, what the reasons were for selecting those agents, etc. And then you pass in this network of agents that it has at its disposal, and then running through this. So that prompt that we're using is, what are the biggest cities in France? Are they like? It first calls agent 1, which is this research agent. The reason is that it's suitable for gathering concise research data. Gives back a list of items from the LLM call here. Task requires a full report, so it then figures out that it needs to call agent 2, which can write full reports based on this research information. Calls that agent 2, and here's our final result for the agent workflow. So the next steps here, what we're going to start exploring is if you have some more complex actions where you want to like inject a level of determinism into some of these scenarios that might happen, would be to start putting in workflows here instead of just agents. So now you're in control of like all these different, like you could force certain tool calls to happen, or you could do like more complex background processing tasks as like a trigger from external system, for example. And then the agent network would then figure out like which parts of the prompt actually fit into the input of the workflows, and then it would just call that. And you could stream back any LLM calls that happen in that workflow and that kind of stuff.
Dude, this is dope. It's kind of like the AGI dream, right? Is to just let something go on a loop and just figure shit out for you, you know? But what do you think are the different like use case? Like, what are like what's the problem space here for this type of network work? You know.
So the way we see it, there's kind of two primary use cases. The first and the simpler one being you just have some kind of an unstructured input coming from an external source or from a user, and you have all these different primitives like workflows with specific input schemas that have a specific task that they can accomplish, or maybe you have a specific agent with their own tool sets and their own specialization. You just need to figure out which one of those to call. So that's, I think, going to be a very common use case. So what it would do in that case, just figure out which primitive is the best one, how to map all the inputs, call that, and then call it a day, essentially. And those would be either streamable, or maybe they could be like background tasks. We could imagine things like setting up alerts in your infrastructure, and then you need to figure out if you maybe need to like scale up your disks automatically, or maybe you need to send specific kind of alerts, or maybe you need to escalate to PagerDuty or that kind of stuff. This way you can also inject things like an LLM in the process of figuring out how how bad an error is that comes from infrastructure, and then you can choose the level in PagerDuty that you want to set for it in terms of like how critical it is.
Yeah, like we had a gentleman on a couple days ago from Agent Perf or agentperf.io, and he showed his name is Vinicius, so shout out Vinicius. And he was showing his like he has like his own concept of like an agent network where the routing agent, right, is responsible for then picking a specific workflow. Although this is also built in Mastra, by the way. So like the routing agent selects the workflow and then executes the workflow, which was super interesting because we were like, hey, why don't you just use Agent Network Experimental, which we published long ago. And the interesting thing he said was like, he doesn't necessarily want things to go and loop forever. He wants the agent to use reasoning to pick the path, execute it, and then that's it. Like if there's more needed, then the user should prompt back, right, to do it again. So like, are we going to support something like that, Tony?
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly the kind of more simple, like route to one action kind of case that we just went through. The other case is really this more, I don't know if I would call it an infinite loop, because fortunately most of the loops do finish because you do end up eventually reaching whatever your task criteria are, but it's more this like long-ish task where you need to accomplish some bigger thing and you really need to put a lot of primitives to work, both in parallel or sequentially to like get that done. But I think that will be, I think it will be like a less frequent use case than the one you just described, where you really need to just figure out, okay, this is the thing I need to call based on this input. Because a lot of the inputs that you are going to be getting, especially from all these external systems, are just unstructured, whether it's from users, whether it's from just a bunch of logs from your backend or something. Like you need to take that, you need to figure out how do I actually put that into my workflow that can trigger a call to PagerDuty, or that can, I don't know, post a Slack message or something that, hey, something weird's happening. So I think, yeah, that's going to be a very cool feature for that.
Yeah. We have a question from Jack. Also, Jack, you're like the GOAT today on the questions, so keep them up. Thank you so much. Also, hello to the 95 people watching. This is AI Agents Hour. We talked about the news. We met Paul and the Mastras here, Tony and Taofeeq. We got a demo. I'm not really good at this. We got a demo for Agent Network, and now we're going to answer a question about it. So the question is, could you summarize what like the Agent Network demo unlocks? What would you say, Tony? Like, what's the biggest unlock here for the user?
I think there's a couple. One is you can just put together these different primitives in this demo agents that have their own specific instruction set. One is good at research, one is good at writing stuff. And you can just give it like an infinite set of tasks to accomplish that you cannot accomplish with these two agents. And the agent network will figure out on its own which ones to run in which order. It will also figure out when you've accomplished that task. It could be that you need to call some number of these agents like 3, 4, 5 times before you actually complete it. Maybe there's a certain amount of review that needs to be done to like get a blog post into a specific shape, or there could be like a fact-checking agent as well. So then it needs to know like how long to keep fact-checking. All of these things are very difficult to do with a workflow yourself, because like there's so many like if conditions you need to put in there, and then call LLMs yourself to evaluate if something still needs to get looped or whatever. It just takes a lot of pain from this like task planning, by just letting the agent figure out for you what actually needs to be done.
For sure. And honestly, like doing these loops is expensive, right? Because, you know, you're calling an LLM to evaluate. You're doing like mini evals on every turn.
Yeah.
But if you got the money, who am I to stop you from doing it, you know?
And there's, of course, a lot of things that we can do. It's
so,
like,
Tony, we were in Japan.
I was going to say, there's, of course, a lot of things that we can and will do to make sure that the cost is not going to totally explode out of hand, like in terms of the memory implementations that we use internally, how to summarize the previous steps and all that kind of stuff. So you don't like keep passing the entire context through like longer loop iterations, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be expensive no matter what, because you'll be doing like loads of LM calls and an LM call to decide what to do next. So it's really meant for these more complex and bigger tasks that you want to like accomplish fully autonomously.
Yeah, for sure.
That's where Guardrails will come in.
That's where Guardrails. Ooh, a little foreshadowing. Last question, Tony, and we'll let both of you guys go. So we were in Japan last week. I think we've, I guess, recovered from jet lag now. What was like a highlight that you got from the trip, from like all the people that we met?
Well, it was a very cool experience because I feel like there was so much excitement around like TypeScript specifically for building AI native applications. And you know, people were super excited about that we came there and talked about Mastra with them. And yeah, it just feels nice to be in an environment where everyone's like trying the same things and everyone's like aligned on how TypeScript ships and Python trains. So
yeah, I would say Japanese users are way more AI pilled than the United States. Because while we argue on Twitter about what the right thing to do is, they just ship stuff. So I kind of want to learn from them. Just like ship and who gives a shit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But with that, thank you both. You guys are amazing. Keep up the great work. We'll see you after this, essentially. But thanks for joining us on the stream.
Thanks for having us. Later.
Peace. Yeah, see you, dudes. All right. So now it's just us again.
Cool.
So we're going to code in a second here. But for those watching us, almost 100 of you, let me do a little recap again. I got to get used to this recap shit. We have been talking about AI News, Claude 4, linear agents, GitHub agents, async agents, background agents. So that was interesting.
Yes.
We met the homies. Paul was at a coffee shop, I guess, that
Yeah.
we don't want to dox him at all. And then Tony and Taofeeq came and talked about the agent networks. And then we got a question here, which is kind of interesting. How can I build a multi-agent collaborative systems with Mastra? Any repo to look at? We actually just talked about this before maybe you joined or something, which is totally fine. You could rewind and stuff. We're working on this right now. We're calling it Agent Network. We have an experimental version that is like V's -1. You can look.
Works pretty good already.
It works decent, you know. It's not like I don't like it because I don't have the control I want, but it does work, and many people do use it. They do want more features on it, which is why you can look at the Mastra open source, look at our docs. You can find Agent Network, and you can start playing with the current version today. So go and do that. Cool. Let's see. Let's see if there's any other questions in the chat that we want to answer. Let's see. No, I think we're all good there. So let's move on now to coding hour, and then we'll like bring this thing home. Yeah, Shane is way better than this, but we're gonna build something. So a couple weeks ago, there's one question that we can do. I have Mastra agents which I want to connect with Vapi. Any tutorials or suggestions on how to connect it? Does Mastra support Vapi or voice apps? It's a good question. Like Vapi is also has all the voice capabilities, but also is trying to be an agent framework, a voice agent framework. We're not necessarily compatible with them because we are an agent framework ourselves. So we would need to build an integration. It doesn't mean we're not going to or don't want to, but we have better relationships right now with the people over at LiveKit, and there has been some exploration over there. Mastra itself is trying to, we're not a voice framework, but we have voice capabilities, and it's almost like a side quest for us right now. We chip away at it a little bit. But if you're truly trying to do a voice app and it's like, you need to ship something and you got to go and do this, why don't you should just use Vapi itself, right? Or any of these other frameworks. But yeah, so that's answers. It's not the answer to your question. It's not a good one, but it's just the truth. So
I think what we have in Mastra now is just you can speak to a LLM and it can speak back. That's the main thing. There's nothing much other going on. So
yeah, and we support like OpenAI real time, speech to speech. And that's pretty much it. And then they can do like the one-way things. So like there's high latency, right? In this world here, there's no built-in like voice activity detection and all that, which all these voice frameworks give you, right? And I don't know, never say never on us in voice, but yeah. So, but yeah, if you need to ship something to production and you're like, oh, should I use Mastra and Vapi or whatever? I would just use Vapi because that's built for a voice agent framework or something. I haven't heard good things about the agent part of Vapi, but everything else I've heard really good things. And they're also a YC company. Their partner in YC is also ours, like Gustav. So I feel some type of kinship to them maybe, but not really at all. I don't know them at all. So okay, thanks for that great question. Oh, and I didn't mean to click this, but thanks, Jack. I really didn't mean to.
You didn't mean to?
I didn't mean to. But yeah. Okay. Also, we're getting all blurry. Whoa.
Bring us back. Yes. I'm back. Yeah, we were back.
Okay. I don't know. Well, okay. Yes, we're back. All right. So thanks for that. All right. We're going to code now. We're going to build some stuff. I will share my screen. And we are going to vibe code as well. So we don't know where this is going to go, but it's going somewhere.
To share your screen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm just getting ready for this with my 30,000 tabs open and shit. Command W right now. You can't see it, but I'm furiously Command Wing. This one time when I was like in elementary school, actually I think it was like middle school, and this guy was like, "Hey, you should just Command W out of your life," and I was like, "Dang, QQ." Everyone remember QQ? If you're playing like Counter Strike,
Yeah.
you just QQ people. Command W your whole life. that's dude. Kids are crazy. Okay, cool.
Just hide from all responsibilities.
All right, so Ward, why don't we kind of like set the stage for the audience while I get things going here?
So we're gonna build guardrails. So there's basically three concepts. If you talk about like guardrails, you maybe want to do like input processing. So you're getting an input from your user. It might not be the best prompt that they did. So you could do like prompt optimization with like calling like a cheaper or smaller model, or you can use a big one, but mostly you just want to make it like quick and fast, where it just enhances the prompt before you put it to the LLM. Like now it's like kind of difficult with Mastra, as in like you have to do a workflow or you have to call like an agent and another agent. So we want to make that smoother. So we have like input processing. Then you have like real guardrails where you can like tripwire, like basically close the connection with the LLM. So you boot it up. So you call the LLM and then you call another thing, which is the tripwire basically. It's just a function or another model that runs. And whenever it like tries to do whatever the prompt set it to be, and then if you say like, oh, it's not what I'm expecting, like maybe it's not answering the question that actually got asked or something, you could say like stop the connection to the LLM itself, the agent, and basically then say like, okay, no, just quit, and you just cut the wire, so you're not like paying all the tokens, and you just cut it loose, so you can get like a new message from the user. So if you go back to like Sonnet 3.7, where basically it goes off the rail, you click on stop. It's like a manual tripwire basically, because you want to cancel. What if you could do it programmatically in whatever way? So we're going to build that part of it. And then, of course, when output processing, you get something back from the LLM, but maybe you want to format it in some kind of object, or just want to enhance that too, or like condense it. You should be able to do it as well, or maybe like remove things out of it, like secrets or something. So maybe the LLM, you give it secrets, or it gave you some kind of weird secrets back. Maybe you don't want it, so you can like mask it out or something. We have something similar from memory where we mask, where you can like write a memory processors like input and output. It's basically similar, but we're just going to open it up on the agent level, so you can do it on the prompt level, basically.
Good explanation, dude. I think for the sake of our remaining time, what we'll do is input processing and output processing, and we'll probably not worry about streaming right now.
No.
And then maybe we can try to do tripwiring.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Before we begin, there's one last thing. I'll just read this question out loud. Also, if you're just joining us, I don't know. I think
I was the host, I guess.
yeah. 1 second. I got to do the host thing. All right. There's just one question, and then we'll get going. Thank you to all 111 of you in the live stream right now. If you don't know what we're doing, man, you always have to do this.
Yes, sir, but Shane does it.
Shane does it all the time.
Naturally.
Yeah. If you're just joining us now, this is AI Agents Hour, hosted by Mastra. We're doing the European edition because we're in the EU right now, Belgium to be exact. We talked about AI news, Claude 4, this whole like, is AI going to take our jobs? Because Linear, GitHub, background agents, there are all these agents trying to do our work for us. We talked about API Gateway, V0's model. Dang, you really have to do this the whole time?
Yeah.
Then we met the Mastras, Paul, Tony, and Taofeeq. We talked about agent networks, multi-agent collaboration, and now we're going to build some stuff. What a mouthful every time. Yeah. Okay, anyway, sorry. Let's answer this question from Sujay. Is there only one way to interact with Python tools through Mastra using MCP? What would you recommend to develop MCP with Python? Okay, this is actually a really interesting question because that whole point of MCP, like this is the whole dream of MCP, right? You write your MCP servers in whatever language you want, and then MCP clients can then connect to them and then use them. I don't write, like none of us here will ever advocate for anything Python. So you asked like the wrong question there. It's not that we're being tongue in cheek. It's just we're not Python devs, so we cannot give you a good recommendation. But like MCP Python SDK does exist, so you could write an MCP server that way. So good luck to you on that one. But if you did have a Python MCP server, Mastra can connect to it with our MCP client. I think a lot of people think that you have to say language to language on these things, but you don't have to. The only problem is if you're trying to ask two JavaScript guys about Python, you're just going to be shit out of luck, you know? Here's another one. Please also make some videos and tutorials for exposing Mastra apps as an MCP service, which is consumed in IDs like your doc server. This is a really, really good question because we literally shipped or are shipping maybe an alpha today. Daniel is going to ship this, which is you can expose Mastra agents as tools in an MCP server. So then there you go. Also, if you haven't caught up on like Mastra features, this week I think it was last week, you could create MCP servers with Mastra, attach them to the Mastra instance. Mastra itself turns into a Hono server. So you have now streamable HTTP endpoints for your MCP servers. So technically, if we're putting all this shit together, your question here, yes, you can make Mastra apps into MCP, which is very meta, and you can use it in like IDEs and stuff. Yep. We will share videos and tutorials. I will give you that. But yeah, you can do this, and it's very exciting. Thank you for the question, by the way. All 120 of you. Okay, now it's coding time. So sorry, we're not going to do any more questions for a bit, but if you have questions on the code and stuff, let's keep it relevant.
Yes.
Cool. All right. All right, Ward. So you're gonna. Cool. So we pair program a lot at Mastra, just in general. I'll be driving, and then Ward's like at the conductor. This is like some classic software engineering team bullshit. But yes, that's what we'll be doing. And what we're going to first do is the input processor. Yep. Right? So any input can get modified or something. Yep. So let's try to do that. So we should add that where?
To the agent class, because agent is our base class for agent. So it's where you put the description, like the instruction, the name. So
in this agent config right here.
Yes.
And then let's just add maybe above here.
Input processor, or maybe do it separately, like input processors and then output processors.
Which
we can start with one.
It'll be an array of something.
Array of functions, I guess.
Yeah.
We will type it after a bit, but
so we just do function array.
Yeah. I think that's enough. We can do like a
this peak TypeScript development right here, dude. Honestly, it'd be even more peak if I did this.
That's how you always start, right?
Yeah.
No types, please.
No types. All right. So now we'll come back to it, y'all. But we have this in our config. Now we need to then pipe it to
constructor. So probably to like a property or something, because we're gonna use it in the generate and or in the stream. So for now, we're only gonna care about generate. So we need to store it so we can grab it. So we just do like this dot hashtag,
which is like a private.
Yes. So you have in TypeScript, maybe that's something that people do not really know. It's like you have the private accessor or modifier. So you can do private x is like a string, but you also have like the hashtags, and private existed in TypeScript for a long time, but it actually isn't really private. So if you compile this to JavaScript, you could still access it. So it's just TypeScript compilation. So you can do it in TypeScript, like TypeScript will complain like, hey, it's not accessible, but it's not truly private. The hashtag is, because it's a JavaScript primitive. So even if you do like hashtag something and we expose it, no one will be able to access it unless we make like a getter function or something else.
Yeah, and this is not necessarily a new TypeScript language thing, but it's like within the last year or two or something.
I think Chrome, like the browsers, actually shipped it probably 2 years ago on all the main things, but that's why we always lag behind. I think Node already had it for a while. But.
And here's also another tangent, because we made this mistake in Mastra code as well. This is also a stupid tangent, but it's very TypeScript related. So private X string, like this was introduced as like a stopgap for people. Before this, we used to do this.
Yeah.
And this would mean that, this doesn't mean shit actually. Like you can still do whatever you want, but by doing __, you're letting everybody on your team know that this is private.
Yeah, like a convention, like it's internal.
Yeah.
You can change it anytime. It's not a public API.
Yep. And then what was like, in React, they were like __.
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't use this or you get fired.
Yeah.
Literally existed in React codebase. For some reason, I forget now, but that was like throwback.
I think it's the same that they need to, like, you have React and React DOM, and they have to kind of sometimes talk to each other.
Yeah.
And the only way to really talk to each other is to expose it to the public, but you don't want people to use it, but you might sometimes want to.
Yeah, like when you dangerously set inner
Yes.
HTML, Cool. So now we have our input processors. What is this complaining?
You just said it, you're not using it yet.
Oh, great. So now we need to use it. Let's go to generate. Oops.
I have to say goodbye to the cleaning lady.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, folks. Be right back.
He'll be right back. It's cleaning day here. Okay. Also, I don't know why. I need to get back in focus. Okay, cool. All right, I'll keep going while he's doing his thing. So we have the input processor on the class now. We need to use it. And we take these messages here, are like the messages that we can take from the agent call, agent.generate. So what we need to put our input processing on the messages. So already here, we're doing some message modifications and stuff. Let's put our input processor. That's actually a good point, Ward. If you have multiple input processors, let's say you have two, is it going to be like a pipeline?
I would say so. Like the first one first and the second one.
So if we
I
did,
guess
like,
it makes sense, right?
If we did like this input processors for each,
yeah,
and then we do the processor, and we'll figure that out. But then each one is going to mutate.
Yeah, mutate
this.
And then, so you always get like the newer version.
Yeah, like that.
Yes. So the order will matter, but I think it does make sense.
Also, these might be async, right? So
yes, you have to await. Yeah.
So then we need to do like
a for loop.
For loop, yeah.
Most easiest.
So for.
Like especially if you want it like sequential, a for loop is so easy because you just do for const x, like this, and
vibes.
And then you do await processor. But you probably have to type the now it's any, so Pressure can or Windsurf can't figure it out.
I say we rock with any because live life dangerously. There's another good question. What if, so this back in the day with JavaScript, right? When you had a promise or a not a promise, you would have to resolve the promise, right? Because then otherwise it'd be like .then.
Yeah.
So what happens today? Like await is just really smart now?
Yeah, so basically await does the check for us. So before you had to do like if x.then, you kind of know if it's a promise, or you do like instance of promise, but mostly we did like x.then because you can create promise-like objects, but that's a whole other tangent. So you usually had to like if promise.x x.then exists, then you do x.then and you give it the callback or something else. You just execute the callback. But it was like at least 5 lines of code or something. And it's just a hassle. So many people just did promise.resolve open bracket and you just put it. So you always create a
like this.
Yes. So you always create like a promise. The only downside with like this approach is basically it's always a next tick. So it's not. This always makes it async. So, for example, if my processor wasn't async, await would just call it sequential. But with like promise of resolve, you will always wait like 1 millisecond or something. And await is smart enough to do that check that we did before with the callback. Like if promise then it will do it for us. So it's just sugar, but it's good sugar.
It's good sugar. Okay, so technically we have input processors now.
Yes.
Technically, we're gonna go make an example for them. We haven't done anything with them, and honestly, they'll probably break if we do something stupid. But hey, we're gonna at least try it out. Yeah. So
Test or something.
let me just go and build this. So we're using a monorepo in Mastra for better or for worse. I mean, I like it fine. It's just kind of a bee sometimes, but we'll build. And also, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to
build core.
Yeah, 59 projects in here, man. And we should probably just do a build. And while we do the build, I will see if there's anything else we can answer. 134 people. Welcome. I'm not going to do the repeat, though. I'm sorry. Like, if you want to know what happened, you got to fucking look, okay?
I can do the repeat.
All right, you do the repeat.
So we did news. Basically, we talked about Claude 4, API gateway from Vercel, or AI gateway from Vercel. Talked about Linear, like their teasers. We talked about Cursor, their background agents. So lots of agents. And then we meet the Mastras. We met with Paul, who does docs. We meet Tony and Taofeeq, who are working on network agent networks, where you basically can combine multiple agents together. And now we are coding guardrails.
And waiting for paint to dry. I haven't built the whole Mastra repo in a while, so I kind of wanted to do it so we don't run into any unforeseen dependency issues or whatever.
And we use a turbo repo, so basically you run everything. Like if you haven't run it for a while, you have to run everything. But then from there on, it's like cached and it only does what it needs to do. But sometimes it has to do everything if you touch like Mastra core.
Yeah, like Mastra core is like the core module. A lot of things depend on it.
Yeah,
so
basically everything depends on it because all the abstractions are there. So and then with the 0.10 release we did on Wednesday, normally it would have come on Tuesday. Basically, we removed so many dependencies from Mastra core. So basically now it's a cheap shell, and then all the other packages basically just use it. So Mastra core has all the contracts that we want, like memory has to look like this, agents has to look like this, and then you can basically build your own abstractions on top, like different stores, different telemetry providers, like all of it.
Cool. So we added input processors to the agent class, and we're calling them. We're not actually using anything yet. What I like to do in this case, I have this example that's really stupid. It's just like my scratch pad of just different agents that I've written based on different features, like bug fixing something.
And stuff.
Yeah, so like we just have a bunch of scratch pad examples, because once you have the monorepo built, you can link those packages to an example and then start coding with it and building things. So I'm going to build an agent that would require us to do some type of input or message enhancement, right? So let's call it like a tutor agent, right? Because I think a lot of times people ask dumb questions. So what if we can take a dumb question, like you can just ask whatever question, and the input processor actually makes it into a very well-formed question. So tutor,
new agent,
tutor agent, new agent.
Yeah.
Sure. We don't need any tools, but we do need input processors. Also, there we go. It's an array of any, but
messages. I guess that's what you get.
That's vibe code right there. But we do get messages. And then let's just return messages right now.
Just to see if it works.
Yeah, just to see if it works. And I'm also going to put a second one.
Just
Just
also do a
to,
log or something, just to see that it calls it.
that's true. I'm going to put a log for sure. But also, let's add a new message. Just for fun. Funsies. Role user. Content. Sure. I don't know why it always uses the France thing.
Because we have it in our tests.
Yeah. So let's just console.log messages here, which will be an array, I believe. And then we can also just say, dude. One of my friends back in the day, like he was like, I think you're either a debugger or a console logger. In the chat, please tell me, are you a debugger or a console logger? So yeah, if you care. I'm a console logger.
I'm a console logger, but from time to time I use the debugger. Depends on where I'm at. So if I'm doing a lot of like roll-up configuration or like build stuff, I use the debugger more because you can look at all the arguments and stuff. But if I just want to know about what's this variable, I do console log. So I start with console log, and if I can't figure it out, I go to debugger.
Yeah, I'm only console logger. I feel like I'm like an intuitive console logger because when you first start console logging, you put logs at like the top, right? But you don't need to put logs like at the top. You know that the top of the function is probably fine. You got to figure out where you're gonna. But it's just like a debugger, actually. Right? It's literally the same shit. Just putting a log there. I have a friend who used to put pizza, right? But the problem is he'd do pizza in all of his logs. So then you don't know where the fuck did the log come from. So then what do you do? Pizza 1, pizza 2, pizza. And then I was like, oh, it's like Little Caesars, which I don't think exists in Europe, though.
No, but, at least not here.
Yeah. Pizza. Anyway, so I use dude, and I do dude 1, dude 2. And we also, there's no such thing as dumb questions, just React developers. That is hilarious. And that is from Rude People Die Young. That's pretty good.
I guess your time is coming.
Your time is coming, dude. And then he also said, or they, I don't know, log more in front end and debug more in back end. So that's cool, yeah. Remember, like back, you'd have to, if you wanted to debug Node.js, you had the inspector and then do all that bridge stuff.
DevTools or something. Yeah.
There's a cool product y'all should try. It's called Subtrace. So you can go to subtrace.io, I believe. And it's kind of like a node debugger. I think they I know the guys who are the founders there, but they do, it's like almost like Wireshark for Docker containers, essentially, but they are running like node processes. Check it out if you're into this whole console log versus debugging kind of situation. Let's continue. Also, thank you for those comments. All right, so now we have a dude here. Let's put a dude 2 just because it's hilarious. And maybe we should also mutate this somehow.
Reverse it? But we're only going to send one. Reverse the text, maybe.
Oh, like within the content or something?
If you know a message is like type user and you just, but what's the point?
Yeah, we'll see. So, okay, now we have these.
Mm-hmm.
So we could write it like a script, but I think we could just put this in Playground and then inspect the logs, right? Yeah. So I'll do that.
Especially if you put debug on, then we should definitely see
this. I was mentioning you can pass MCP servers, right? Mm-hmm. So here's an example of that happening. Who asked that? Was that A?
Yeah, A.
So yeah, hey, A, there you go. Or was that the question? Yeah. For sure. Okay, let's get rid of some of this stuff because it's not relevant right now. But then let's add our tutor agent. Cool.
Tabbing to victory.
Tab to victory. I need to npmi ignore workspace. Yeah. This is so we can do the links.
Yeah, you can see it already on screen that it says like ... / package loggers. So it basically took it from the monorepo instead of from npm.
Then I can do now run dev or
Mastra dev. Mastra.
Oh yeah, Mastra dev.
Without, okay, we'll go.
Oh, vNext. Do I have a vNext workflow in here? I probably do. Nice. We're like fixing our own
Example.
release. Sick. Okay, that should. Okay, we're good. We're kicking it now. Oh snap! Storage is not initialized.
Ooh.
I don't have storage, do I? Oh, I don't have storage. I should have updated this example earlier. We need to add storage, right? So I don't have storage.
You can import from Mastra libsql or something, or remove some agents because I'm guessing some agent is using storage or something.
I mean, let's see. Okay. Yeah, because it's using memory and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. If y'all haven't seen the playground in a while, Marvin has made it. Keeps making it sick. We also have Greg Lubinsky. If anyone knows Greg Lubinsky from Poland, he's also ex-Gatsby. Him and Marvin are cooking. These Europeans, man, they're just cooking on the front end, but it looks dope. You can see memory is off now, and also memory is not enabled. So, and we also don't have any tools or workflows on this thing, which is chill. We do have our prompt enhancer here, whatever. So I'm just gonna say, like, we haven't done anything yet, but like, what is 2 plus 2? If I look at my terminal, I should see my dude somewhere, but I don't. That's because we're streaming, right? Like in the playground.
Ah.
But let's use generate now. What is 3 plus 3? The capital of what? Oh, because we added.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, it's working, dude. That's hilarious. Okay, so now we have our dudes. What is 3 plus 3? What is 2? And then we added role, content, and then the last thing. This is dope. Okay.
So be careful when you change your prompt.
Yeah. Okay, so then there's so many things you can do now, right? Now that you have this control, let's actually do something interesting. And I think we're going to have to do something even more interesting, which is we don't just want messages in here. We also want Mastra itself, because I might want to do
agent call.
anything. I might want to do a workflow. I could do whatever the fuck I want in there.
Yeah.
So let's make that happen. And I'm just pretending this works right now.
And runtime context.
Ooh, we need runtime context too. That's a great point. We need all that. Also, I'm going to get rid of the second one because I don't really care about it right now. Okay, so then what if we had an agent that is the prompt or the input enhancer agent, right? So let's make one of those. It also could just be an LLM call too, but I don't care. So question enhancer. Let's see if I can tab my way to victory. Okay, cool. And so there are two options, right? I could just use this agent in here, right? Like, and I just call it directly, like it just auto-completed for me, right? I could do this. The problem with doing this, in my opinion, is when you register agents in Mastra, like the agent itself is registered, you get all the tracing and you get all the observability. So that's why we would rather like retrieve this from the Mastra instance. So I could essentially do my question enhancer is mastra.getAgent, and the agent will be like question enhancer. Now I have that same question enhancer. I'm gonna call this agent, and then I'm gonna call it here. And this is getting, sure, I mean, whatever. And then we need to get, we'll just log some shit right now. So I'll just see like, this will be text. Also, we're flying blind too. No types. It's pretty crazy. Also, this is not going to work as written right now. I need to go change something. So let's go do that. In agent here. So right now we're just passing the messages, which is cool. We'll do that like this. And then, wow, it's funny how that works. That's great. And those all exist there. So
Yeah, we have to assign it to Mastra as well. Like the I don't think you registered it yet.
yes. So let me go build core.
You can do like turbo watch and then filter,
Premium turbo watch.
then build, then dash filter equals at Mastra core. It will watch the Mastra core package. So every time you change something, it will rebuild it.
Dude, you learn something new every day. I didn't know that. Dude, I've been fucking doing it manually.
And you can add like as many packages as you want. So if you're looking for Mastra core and maybe memory, you could do filter Mastra core space dash filter Mastra memory, and it will like watch both, and it will also watch all dependencies. So if Mastra memory uses Mastra core, basically don't have to specify Mastra core.
I also don't have types right now, or maybe I'm just.
I think it's hashtag Mastra now.
Yeah. But look at like bottom. This happens. Hey, windsurfers. This happens to me so much, where I just get like an infinite TypeScript hell. Let me know if that happens to y'all. Also, there are a bunch of chat messages now, so let's like go through those a little bit. Also, welcome. Oh yeah, we have to do the summary thing. Hold on. Let me just see how many of you are here. 153. Welcome. All right, we'll do some questions. Rude people die young. Dope name, by the way. Again, you guys are awesome. Love what Mastra is building. Very early days for me. I'm trying to build to run only browser based. Ooh, that's a little tough, dude.
Especially with like API keys and stuff, you don't really want to expose them on the browser. I think that's the main thing. There's just a security hole, but also we're not compatible with browser only either. Like we have like too many node stuff going on.
But it doesn't mean never say never, I guess, you know?
Yeah, it's just not a priority.
Yeah. And then Omkar. Hey, Omkar, how's it going, dude? What about using superior agent? Act as a supervisor or something. What is superior agent? Is that
I think like it's the master agent that calls its minions. I think that's what he means. Like the
superior.
Superior. Yeah.
I don't know, Omkar. I think you got to clarify, dude, because I don't understand your question.
I think it's the same as a supervisor, basically.
Yeah,
it's like
but in what context? Like what we're trying to do right now? Like I don't understand the context of the question. But anyway, who cares? Can you re-answer the question, and we'll definitely answer it.
Yeah, it could be that it's like just in your router, you say you have to enhance first, secondary, do this, and then.
Yeah, we could do that, I guess.
Yeah, but then you don't, or you do it to tool calling. It's like less explicit.
Yeah.
And what if the LLM doesn't call the tool?
That's
because
true.
You never know that they're actually going to call the tool. But it's a good idea. You could probably do it as well, but like with the input processors defining it, you're always sure to get like a run.
Did this rebuild? Wow, that's so cool. Yeah, it just did.
And it's watching.
It's watching it too. That's amazing. Okay, so now we go back. We have this going for us. I guess I can go back
to... Did we attach it to the Mastra?
Oh, I didn't do that yet. Here. Nope, not that. Here. This is our question enhancer. So now we have that. Sorry. Okay, so what do we expect? We expect
the prompt to change.
The prompt to change. So what is math? Okay, let's see. Oh shit. This is what. That's the response though, right?
Like... Yeah, but you did console log text, no?
Did it?
I think in your console log you did text, but I don't know what.
Oh yeah, I did.
Maybe you have to do a subdued before.
There it is. What is mathematics and how does it encompass various branches such as arithmetic, whatever? It did improve, whatever, you know. So what's like we could, what am I trying to say? I mean, now we need to just replace it, right? So, and then this is where like we're only sending a user message, but there could be multiple messages in here. So like, which one are you supposed to do? The last one, let's say, right? You want to update the last one?
Guess so. We probably want to, in the future, want to improve it, that it does it for every message. Maybe like all at once. Like if you have 4 messages, to 4 agent calls. But for now, we can just take the last one.
Okay, and then if we do,
also prompt the agent, probably this is my message 1, message 2, message 3. Give me them back, but yeah. Something we should figure out and probably write a blog post about or something.
Yeah. Why is it so slow?
Because you probably used, I don't know, which model we're using? Mini?
I'm using Mini for both. So, I mean, this is the problem. Like with doing this, right? You will introduce latency to the call. I'm also doing a generate. That's why it is calling.
Yeah.
You know. Sorry, model settings. I am doing a generate call, so it is like waiting for the full response. Okay, that's cool. But now what we should do is there's probably other types of input processors. So maybe this is like an enhancer. So let's do something before this. Let's call it, maybe we should throw. Like do something that would throw. Like maybe like you shouldn't be allowed to have any inputs that are like,
even with a certain word or something.
Yeah. Ooh, profanity filter. Okay, let's vibe code this. So I'm gonna take this. Let's get into windsurf. I wonder what it's gonna do. It's gonna do some crazy shit probably. Like if I ask it to do a profanity filter, like a general one. But I think that's cool.
Yeah, just ask.
I want to. Okay, so here messages are in the shape of. I'll just do it role. Let's just say user content is a string or something. I probably could just reference the type as well. Can I do that? Core message. Okay, I guess I can. So now it knows what it is. I want to throw in this function if the content has profanity in it. May the force be with you. And if you mess up, just know that rude people die young. All right, we'll see how that goes. I have a bad feeling about this already. I don't think it's going to do it right. Also, they have Celsius in Europe, which I just discovered. And that's cool. I mean, we're sponsored by Greptile energy drink. So I guess I shouldn't have shown this. I don't know. But I don't have any Greptiles on me right now. So how to get the Celsius.
Maybe they should have a brand of Greptile in Europe then.
Hey, Greptile, send us more drinks here too. Also, y'all should use Greptile though. I was in Japan and I pumped Greptile on stage. I gave a talk, and someone asked me like, "What AI tools do you guys use yourself?" And we we're like, "Well, we build a lot of tools for ourselves." And I mentioned I did my taxes with an agent, but I'm not going to tell you guys about that yet. But then I said, oh, yeah, we use Greptile for PR reviews and stuff. And then Japanese Twitter kind of went crazy with it. So
Yeah, it's pretty good, even if it doesn't always says the correct thing, or maybe it's not exactly, or you're okay with like a side effect happening or something. But a good thing it finds the places where you or your reviewer should have an extra look at. Like maybe you did like a spawn a child process or something, or you did like a fetch call, but you forgot that like cancellation is not happening. Like it just mentions that like, hey, you forgot cancellation, and maybe you're like, oh, I don't care about cancellation. Good for you.
yeah.
But at least it prompted it, and it's like, okay, let me think about this.
Yeah. We also just vibe coded this thing. We didn't look at it once, which is hilarious. But let's answer 2 questions here. RPDY, I'm gonna call you that. RPDY, rude people die young. Your auth token is in the browser, so storing your API key isn't such a big deal. Technically, your auth token is not in the browser, right? Like you're exchanging it for a true identity token. But I see your point, though.
Yeah, but the main difference is that your auth token is mostly like only a couple of hours valid.
Yeah.
Where like API tokens mostly not, unless you have your abstraction in the server already, where you have your API key that's just for you or for your service, but not the OpenAI one. But then what's the point of running everything in the browser if you already have like a gateway of some sort?
Or maybe it's just like client-side tooling, or like it's always maybe it's like the client is the browser. Or you know what I mean? The client is the browser. Sorry, I'm going to explain this real quick. There's this thing we call this thing client tools, and I think people confuse it often with browser tools, right? Like the client is the perspective of the client, aka I'm calling a server and I'm going to do a client-side tool call. If you look at my IDE, right? My IDE is the client, and then right? Like Windsurf here is my client. It's talking to a model, Claude, through an API. Claude is then signaling to Windsurf to do tool calls, right? You look at these tool calls that get analyzed. That's a tool. Edited. Maybe that's a tool. I don't know. All these are tool calls, but the model is telling Windsurf, hey, you need to call this tool. Windsurf owns the tool. So then it executes it client side, right? So it's a client side tool call. So it doesn't mean browser. But anyway, that's just a tangent.
But come on to our Discord and explain like the example, because I love to hear what like you're actually building and why you need like Mastra in the browser, because maybe we're not seeing something and maybe we should put more effort into it.
Yeah. I like not paying for stuff. 0 cloud cost sounds pretty good to me. And then Sujay asked, Greptiles from YC, right? YC Hackathon. Yes, Greptiles from YC. They threw the biggest MCP hackathon, which I missed, which is fine. I was doing some other shit. But yeah, super cool product. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just looking at some other ones. He already built browser only with Vercel AI SDK. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, there's no databases involved with AI SDK. There's no workflows that have all types of node dependencies. So yeah, for sure. Yeah, I just well stated. Then Omkar, think more, type less, debug more and more, and teach AI about it, and receive an apology from AI is vibe coding. That's funny because we haven't even read this yet, but it's right here. I apologize for my error. Dude, like so much stuff happened while we were just chilling, right? Let's read this and actually see what happened here. Oh my God. Okay, so then let's see. It looked into the core message. Okay. It saw that it was imported. Okay, whatever. Analyzed the processor. Sure. Understood some stuff. Had a lint error. Okay. Issue. It found its own issue. Another issue. Apologized for the issue again. Fixed the regex. Finally. Successfully implemented it. And then gave us a summary. So let's actually see what happened here. Okay, sure. Check if a core message contains... Oh, snap. Hey, this is not safe for work. These words here, but all right. So like, cool. I don't know. I'm just gonna
It looks good.
LGTM. So I'm gonna accept it. But then where are we using it? Like down here, right?
I guess in the
Oh, if it has profanity.
yeah.
Now, though, do we want the LLM to tell us that they couldn't do it, or do we want to throw?
I would say throw because I don't think we have enough information to let the LLM, or we don't have enough because basically now you kind of skip the next one.
Mm-hmm. It'll throw, and then the next one won't even get called.
Yeah,
right?
now it just degenerate throws.
I wonder what's gonna happen in the playground.
Crash, I guess.
Crash. All right, let's find out.
It's a good thing that we have to think about. What if you throw your processor? Do you want the LLM to throw as well? Like, what's the
Nice.
result?
Did exactly
Mm-hmm.
what we wanted to, essentially.
Yeah.
It's pretty sick, dude. Okay, so now we have like a use case, right? So you can filter things out. Now this is then essentially a guardrail. It's kind of a guardrail, but you're doing something before.
Yep.
Now, what a guardrail is supposed to do is run this check in parallel. So it's supposed to pass it through, and then it'll run its check. So this profanity check would happen, but also we would start the execution. In this case, it would be a little weird because I just said, "Oh shit," right? Like, who cares? The execution is really fast, so it probably won't. There'll be some like.
Yeah, but like look at the prompt enhancer. Like, of course, you can't do that parallel. But let's say you do another model call because the enhancer also took a couple of seconds or like 30 seconds or something. Maybe you should even use a different model. But basically, those things are like take time and latency that you can't really stream anything to the user. Maybe you can stream like reasoning or busy, but there's nothing valuing for the user. So that's why those guardrails, if you can do it parallel and you're already kicking it off, maybe the model is like reasoning and doing its thing, and before it actually starts streaming anything, you already cut the wire or something. So that's why parallel sometimes does make sense because it's faster that you're not waiting.
We could do another type of profanity thing where it actually uses an agent to make it safe for work. So what we could do is like, which I guess is the same thing as this enhancement.
But it could be like the output processor, right? Because probably you set some profanity words in your prompt, so maybe the LM is going to respond in a similar way, or maybe not, but you never know. And then the output could basically clean up all the profanity words.
Okay, that's a great question, rude boy. Let's do an example like that where we don't allow things outside of the scope of the agent. So this is what we'll do. So like in a tutoring case, you're not allowed to ask anything outside of mathematics, let's say. So we have to have an agent that evaluates is this a mathematical
like
question?
Like a judge.
It's like a judge, yeah. It's like a judge. So we can do something very like crude right now. So let's actually, we have this question enhancer, but let's call it like the prompt relevance. It's answer relevancy essentially is like an eval. Dude, I wonder if we could use an eval. The answer relevancy eval.
It's just
input output.
Yeah.
What would be the output though? The prompt itself?
But no. So I guess so.
Both. Yeah.
Let's see input output. Well, you could. The input would be
the prompt.
And the output would just be. Is this math?
Is this math? Let's not do that. I mean, essentially what we're gonna do is we'll be very close to an eval. Yeah. Also, like we have Mastra evals. It's like a package for all of our evals and stuff. And what am I going with that? we have these off-the-shelf ones like hallucination, answer relevancy, bias, etc. So we're just thinking like, could we use it or whatever? We're not going to because we're just hackers right now and vibing. So yeah, we'll just keep doing this. There's a question that just came in, but we'll get to it in a second. Also, I have no idea how many people are in here. So let me check real quick. Let's see, 169. Welcome, Ward. Do your thing. Tell them what we've been doing.
So basically, we started with what's happening in AI. We talked about Claude 4. We talked about the AI gateway that Vercel launched. We talked about a couple of models like V0 model got shipped as well or released. We talked about linear is up to something with like agents. Cursor is like also revamping like background agents, doing things like outside of your scope or outside of the EDs. You just start it off and it does something. Then we met the Mastra, so we met Paul, who is working on docs, and he's actually working on Express server docs as well. And then we met with Tony and Taofeeq, who are working on like agent networks. So basically, how can I have like a supervisor or a router that just says like, hey, I have this, and it figures out which other agents or tools or workflows it needs to call. And now we're here coding guardrails and input processors.
Thank you, Ward. So in this case, this prompt relevancy thing, should we use runtime context in the instructions to then make it, the relevancy would then be based on runtime context? So for example, if I do runtime context like this.
Let's make it function.
Yep. And then, so then if you can do like, if, let's call it const topic. It's runtime context dot, was it get?
Yep. It's like a map.
Topic.
Yep.
And then I have the topic. And so we're going to return. Oh yeah, by the way, in agents in Mastra, right? Not all the properties yet, but pretty much most properties are dynamic. They can be. And there's this thing called runtime context, which is what we use to, and you, essentially the user, pipe all this metadata everywhere. So what we're going to do here is make this prompt relevancy enhancer dynamic in a way by giving it the topic it needs to be relevant about. So I have the topic.
Runtime context is just like a bag with key value. Like if you know TypeScript or JavaScript, the map, like a new map, it's similar. You just have a key and a value, and you do whatever you want with the value. And you pass it to the generate, or if you use like the API request in like the server, you can also pass it as like a key value in your body. Or if you use the Mastra client, which you should use for communication to the server, it has it as well. So it's like all type based.
Okay, so we have the enhancer. I'm gonna go put this on the Mastra instance like we did the other ones. That way it can be registered. And we haven't shown any tracing yet, but I'll show you in this one, because you'll see the tutor get called, the other agent get called.
Set up storage.
Oh shit, yeah, we do. We'll do that in a second. Oh shit. Cool. So now we have this prompt relevancy enhancer. Let's make another input processor here. And I do need runtime context in this case. Or
do you need it?
I can use I should use it, right?
You use it because you have to pipe it to the generate, right?
Correct. Cool. All right.
A Mastra you need too, because you need the agent from the Mastra.
So we'll get the relevancy agent. That's not the name though, is it?
No, but it does generate in one go.
Very nice. But then we also need to pass runtime context.
Yes.
And then I also want to do a output here, which is a Zod object. I'm going to use structured output because I just want to know like relevant Boolean, you know? Yeah. So let me also just update this. I'm just going to put this. I don't know if this is a trick or anything, but I just like, sometimes when I'm going to do a structured output, I'll just drop what I want my shape to be. Even though I'm doing it in the Zod and JSON schema type stuff, I just put it there because I don't know. I don't give a fuck. Like I just did it. And honestly, it works sometimes. So
It's basically because we started with tool calling that you sometimes have to duplicate
yeah.
like the rules. Like just adding tools is not always enough. You have to like put it in the prompt like, hey, please, like we have a tool called that does this. We have a tool that does that.
So then this should be like if it's not relevant, then we throw.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Return the message.
just return messages. Cool. Okay, now we need to pass this topic in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let me also log here what the topic is. Okay.
Thank you, Darrow, for adding that to the playground, so
Yeah.
we can just do it in the playground.
So I need to go add runtime context here. And my Mac is do you have a charger?
Yeah, I'll get it.
We're on charging duty. Okay, there's some questions I'll do while I wait as my battery dies. 10% though, we're golden, dude. We're golden. Cool. Let me answer some questions. So I have an Express server and want to add Mastra agents and workflows. Can I integrate the local dashboard from npx create Mastra into my existing setup? The like the playground, like what we're looking at, huh?
I think technically you can. We don't have docs, but you should be able to, when you do a build, to get the playground as long as you have like all the API set up. But I would say no, you can't do it today. But if you really, really want to put the effort, which I don't really recommend, you could.
Yeah. If you want to use our API handlers, right, in your Express server, you can use Mastra server. Here, I'll show y'all. I'll show y'all right now. We have a package called Mastra server. It's right here. And okay, it's a little story time for those who care. I don't know if anyone does, but originally we had this thing called Mastra deployer. And the deployer was all of our Hono. We use Hono as our server. Shout out to Hono. But everyone came to us next and were like, yo, I use Express, I use Koa, I use whatever. And so we were like, okay, well, we want people to use whatever server they want. And they wanted to use our handlers that were existed on the Hono server. So we're like, okay, cool, let's lift everything out. And we put it in this thing called Mastra server. What Mastra server is, you can just grab all the handlers. These are just JavaScript functions. Then you can go into your Express server, and then you can set up the routes however you want and just call the handler. As long as you're passing in Mastra and some runtime context, right, you're golden. And so for Hono, like this is a lot easy, but for Express, it's pretty chill too. Runtime context in this case is like just an object. So you could totally do this, but this doesn't really mean that you get the playground though. No. This is just functionality. And then technically, hey, I'll help you right now. Maybe you can do this. So we have another module called Playground UI. This is like the playground components. So now you have your Mastra server in Express using our Mastra server package with the handlers, doing your thing. You have Express server. We have this Playground UI that has all the playground modules. You could import those, and then you could finagle your way to victory. It's still a lot of work, though. And I'll keep a note of this as like maybe something we entertain in the future. But the answer right now is like, good luck, have fun. Okay, and then let's see what other question we have. These streaming sessions are gold. Thank you. Ward is right. Describing the tools in your system prompt makes tool use more solid. Yeah, awesome. Okay, back to business. This is a runtime. Let me make this bigger. Also, we have about 10 minutes left of the stream. Thanks for everyone for joining, but we're going to keep going. Also, I'll say how many people are here. 168 of you. Thank you. All right. So this is the runtime context part of the dashboard or the playground. Here we can just set everything up. So let's just say the topic is mathematics. So that's that. And then
at the bottom, I guess.
Is there a save button?
I don't know.
Oh, there is. Except I was too.
I was too zoomed in.
I don't know if that's a bug or just some bullshit, but
Yeah, it's a bug.
yeah.
And also the save should be on the right where we have so much.
Yeah, dude, like what's the empty ass space here?
Yeah.
Yo, Marvin, Greg, get on it, bro. Okay, so now we have mathematics. Let's go to our tutor agent, and I should ask about biology, right?
Yeah. How are babies made? What do bees do? Or
Oh yeah, like what are birds? No. What are dolphins?
oh,
Hello there. That is not relevant. But what if I say
maybe you should in the error. Like now we did error. Maybe we should do the response. But it's like true or false. Yeah.
yeah?
But yeah.
We can log it though.
Yeah.
Ooh, you know what? We should also put relevant, and we should also put
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah. Just like the eval.
Like an eval. It's the same as an eval, man. This is just an eval. And then we got the reason. Very nice, very nice.
Yes.
And then let's also... I think that's it. That's all we gotta do. Okay, cool. So we're back. What are the birds doing in the nest? Whatever that means. Nice. The reason, which is not related to the topic of mathematics.
Now we should ask a math.
Yeah. Who invented... Oh, okay, actually. Okay, I'm going to do an easy one and then a curveball. Okay, so I also studied mathematics in college because I'm a nerd. Dolphins can do mathematics. That's pretty funny. Who invented... Or no, wait. What is the quadratic formula? And what is it used for? What if it fails? No, I won't, though. It won't. I'd be very surprised if it did.
We always pray to the models. OpenAI.
Okay, it went through, right? And then
Yes.
it also prompt enhanced. That was a double whammy, by the way. It went through each processor, by the way, right?
Didn't we change that? Or did we keep the code?
I kept all three.
Ah.
So first it checked for relevancy, then it checked for profanity, and then it enhanced the question.
Oh, cool.
Which was unintended because we didn't really plan for this. It's pretty sick, but that's dope. Okay, so that's pretty
Now
sick.
your curveball.
Curveball. Okay, so will it know information about like people of mathematics, right? Like, so if I ask like, who is Pythagoras? I don't know if I spelled that right, but is it relevant?
I guess so. It's about math. I would say yes.
Yeah, because it didn't fail. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, true.
So it's probably going through each one. There you go. Dude, honestly, we built something pretty cool. We built something pretty freaking cool. There's tons of work to do on it. Should we do output processor and then wrap this thing up? Do we have time?
7 minutes. I guess we could.
I guess we could try.
It's just the same as input, but
Yeah, but just output. So, all right, we'll do it. But let's answer this question real quick. Can I use my own? Sorry, I should probably do it like this. Huh?
Can I use my own Redis instance hosted on AWS for memory without needing to use Upstash, or can I bang in my Redis credentials into the Upstash constructor? I actually don't know if we use the Upstash SDK or we use Redis.
You can use Redis with Upstash's SDK. I think you use the same, like a Redis URL, or I believe you can connect to Upstash, use the Upstash SDK to connect to something on like Redis Labs, but I'm not necessarily sure. I'll double check. And if that's not the case, then we got to change something, because a lot of people don't use necessarily Upstash. Like, we don't even use Upstash anymore. Not that we're against Upstash or anything. We use Redis like proper, and we think you should too, but that's my opinion. So yeah, if not, we'll figure it out. But if it does, then yeah, you should be able to use that for your vectors. The vector part, is it for vectors that you wanted it, or for storage?
Memory. So I guess it's
Both or whatever. Oh yeah, for those who don't know, memory in Mastra takes two types of storage classes. If you want to use just for storing messages, you use a storage property or which gets inherited from Mastra. You can use Postgres, libsql, Upstash, Redis, etc. KV shit, right? All KV type of stuff. Then there's also a vector store option. So you can also chunk and embed and store vectors for the messages themselves. This allows you to do something called semantic recall, which is essentially doing vector search on the conversation, pulling out the relevant details, and then putting them into the context window. We will do some live stream sessions on memory. It is the most fascinating thing right now for me in AI. Can we use Valkey instead of Redis, which will be self-hosted at production? If that's a Redis interface, then yeah, you should be able to do anything Redis-like. If it's some other storage provider, you can open a PR with the storage adapters. I guess I'll show you here.
Yeah, so we have like master storage, which is an abstract class, and then I think it's about 8 functions you have to like implement, or 10, and you're off to go.
So these are all our stores. Some of them both have storage and vector storage, right? There is a difference. But you can check out here. I think our most recent ones were Couchbase, Mongo, and DynamoDB, which is, as an open source, guys, like this is so cool when contributors bring the technology that they love into our project. Dynamo, Couchbase, also Ian from the community. I just want to say who did the Dynamo one. Awesome. Couchbase was some dudes from Couchbase, which was awesome. I forget their names. I apologize. And then MongoDB was the vector storage part was from the Mongo team themselves. Nice. And then the storage part was from a startup using Mongo, which like it's not like we didn't do any work or anything, but it's just dope. So yeah, that's the answer to that question. Oops, I should undo that.
That's about it, I think. Oh, so Shravan, or however you say his name or her name, I think it's a he. But basically, I think you said you were going to do a couple of more EU live streams.
Yes. Oh yeah, this thing. So yeah, usually we do the live stream at 12 p.m. Pacific time in California, which essentially everybody else in the world doesn't get to enjoy them. So while we're here, just kind of testing out this time. And there's 174 of y'all here. Pretty great. So thanks for being here. We have to wrap this up in 3 minutes, though. So we're going to try to rage code this last piece, which is the output processor. So we're going to...
We could also just don't do that and just talk about it a little bit, because basically it's the same as input processors, but we're just going to put it after the message, so we don't really have to code it per se.
That's true. Yeah, because okay, let's just sketch it, I guess.
Yes.
So if we have output processors here, which will be an array, but in this case, you're going to have what's considered the output. Now, output is interesting because it could be a string or an object, given what you were trying to do in your generate call or whatever. So you would have this, and then you can then essentially do the same thing, like modify it.
And maybe it's like output, and second argument is if you do structured output, you get like the sol object as well.
Yeah.
So you can maybe do something with that. Streaming is going to be difficult.
Streaming,
specific or special.
Ooh, let's talk about streaming, right? So if you're streaming, you have text deltas, right?
Yes.
So what's the problem with that?
Yeah, you don't really know. So it's about chunking, right? Like a stream of text delta can be at any chunk, could be a comma, could be like a whole sentence. You don't really know. So the question is, okay, when do I have to execute those output processors? So do you buffer yourself in the output processor? Do we give you options to like string length, or I don't know yet, like just spitting out loud. And then if you do like structured output, like what part of the structured output are you getting? Like, is it, if it's an array of objects, sure, you can get it to it per object.
Yeah.
But if it's one object, is it per key? Are you just waiting for the end?
That's true. Also, text deltas are very small, right? So you're going to spend a lot of money if you're doing some LLM piece.
Oh, yeah.
So you essentially have to accrue text, like almost in a batch interval. and then you have to process it on
Yep.
that. But then how do you accrue a text delta? Because then you have to prevent it from being streamed. Oh boy, this is gonna be interesting, dude. We are definitely doing EU live streams next week. Let's continue on this project here. Aside from all the other stuff we have to do, but this was dope. Okay, we are at time. Thank you so much, everyone. I know it was a rocky start, but I think we caught our, turbulence, and then we figured it out at the end.
Do we have to do the revamp one more time? Like what we talked about?
Oh yeah, go for it.
So we started today with like AI news. We talked about Claude 4. We talked about like linears doing some agent stuff. Vercel shipped their API gateway or AI gateway. V0 model is out as well. We talked about a cursor going to like a background agent, so they can do tasks in the background. And then we met the Mastras, who we met Paul, who's working on documentation. He recently joined us. He's doing docs about Express. We met Tony and Taofeeq, who are working on agent networks, basically some kind of router. So you have X amount of tasks, and the agent will figure it out on its own and call multiple agents when it fits.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. We are the Mastras AI Agents Hour. We usually say we're from the Palace of the Dog, but we're about to release a video after this call, so you can say that we're from the Palace of the Horse. And that may not make sense to you, but we'll see you on Monday, probably around the same time. So, ciao. What do they say in Belgium or in Dutch?
Dag.